Now might be the perfect time to buy an annuity. We've got annuity rates that are the highest they've been in the last 17 years, as shown in this example here. And global trackers have gone up fivefold in the last 15 or so years. So what you're using to buy an annuity is an all-time high, and then what you can purchase with an annuity in terms of the cash flows is also incredibly strong. And the combination of these two makes it worthwhile looking into this further. And the final kicker is that there's uncertainty as to how pensions might be taxed in the future. And annuities are typically purchased from the taxable part of your pension. There might be a good way of getting around all this uncertainty. An annuity is simply a guaranteed future income stream, like a state pension or a defined benefit pension with potentially no value when you die. It's typically purchased from the taxable part of a defined contribution pension, but it doesn't have to be all of this amount. You could purchase several annuities over your lifetime. You could buy some now and then some later. And it's used as a risk management strategy around variable stock market returns, inflation, and how long you're going to live for. But once bought, annuities can't be switched to another provider, they can't be changed to a different type of annuity, and they can't be altered in any way at all. So that's even worse than a vasectomy. Here are some annuity rates in depth. So we're looking at a single person. The first column is where the annuity does not increase over time. So you just get the same amount of money in nominal terms each year, with inflation eroding it away. The next column is, again, no increase for inflation, but you get a guaranteed 10 years worth of payments, even if you die in the first few months of taking out that annuity. The rates are slightly lower. And then the final column has a 3% escalation. So some allowance for inflation, maybe not quite a complete allowance for inflation. And here you can see that if you believe in the 4% rule, you can actually lock in an annuity at age 55 that is better than the 4% rule. You're actually getting 4.6%. So again, they could be a really useful thing to consider. There's lots of different types of annuities. So some are index linked, so they will rise with inflation, but if inflation is, say, 10%, they might be capped and only go up by 5%. You do need to look very carefully at the terms of the annuity policy. Some are level, so they don't go up with inflation at all. Some are just for one person. You can also get a joint annuity where if the initial annuity holder dies, a proportion of that annuity then goes to their spouse. You can get enhanced annuities if you've got certain health conditions, like you're a heavy smoker. You can get term annuities that only last for a certain period of time, like say 10 years or until your state pension kicks in. You can get guaranteed annuities that pay out for a few years, no matter whether you're alive or not. And then also you can get a purchased life annuity that you buy from just an ordinary savings account. So what you're doing is you're swapping taxes on dividends, interest, and capital gains with taxes on income, but then you can potentially get a return of capital. So it's not necessarily all taxed as income. It's a bit complicated, and so that's why people prefer to buy annuities from the taxable part of their pension, so the tax status is unchanged. Here's a quick look at what influences annuity rates. So on the left-hand side, you've got the different types of annuities that I've mentioned. At the top, you've got gilt yields. So this is UK government bonds, typically a 15-year government bond. Those sorts of yields will influence the annuity payout because that's what annuities often invest in. Then you've got things like how old you are, how much money you want to invest, and even maybe where you live, because that can also influence how long you're going to live for. And then also you can get enhanced rates depending on your health condition. Some people put part of their pension into an annuity and use it to pay core bills like council tax and utility bills. It's kind of like investing in bonds, and then you literally die with zero. You can buy an annuity straight from your pension provider like Standard Life, Prudential, Royal London, etc. But you can often get much better rates by running comparisons and shopping around. But you do need to buy an annuity from a reliable provider with a good credit rating, because this is a product that's going to last the rest of your life, and some flaky companies might not outlive you. Here's the Money Helper website, which is government funded, and it has a lot of information about annuities, and then also you can use it to start shopping around with some annuity providers. You don't want to end up with a bum deal. You could make your own annuity by buying a series of index-linked UK government bonds with different maturity dates and using that guaranteed income to fund your lifestyle. There's no magic fund that annuities invest in. You could also maybe consider investment trust dividend heroes, which have increased their dividends every year for the last 20 or so years. However, for equity funds, the increase has generally been a lot less than inflation, and for some alternatives, such as Greencoat Wind, they might not be able to maintain dividend increases into the future, because Greencoat Wind is dependent on things like how windy it is and what the power prices are. So these options offer potentially lower returns, but then they don't run down your capital. The downside of annuities is that you miss out on equity returns, which potentially could be quite strong. One thing you could do with an annuity is to use it to bring your income up to the top of the 20% tax band. So take your current income, whether it's a state pension, defined benefit pension, rental property income, then look at the 20% tax band, look to fill that gap. Then any equity upside that you're missing out on would have potentially been taxed at 40% anyway, and then maybe that doesn't make you feel quite so bad for going down the route of a guaranteed income. If you are considering an annuity, you might want to use Flexible Access Drawdown to access your pension rather than UF+. If you use Flexi Access Drawdown, you can more take tax-free cash from your pension and then maybe take taxable cash, so you're always utilizing your personal allowance. And then by holding back on some of this taxable cash in your pension, you can use it at a later date and you've got more money to buy an annuity. Whereas with UF+, you're always taking taxable cash in the same ratio as tax-free cash. So that way you're burning through your taxable cash much more quickly. So what I'm trying to say is that a decision that you make now in terms of how you access your pension could lead to repercussions further on down the road. If you want to learn more about how Flexible Access Drawdown works, then check out this video, and I'll also put a link in the description. So what you really need is a wealth plan that can model all these alternatives for you, and that's something that I offer with my retirement calculator spreadsheet. I'll put a link to it in the description. If you want to learn more about how a retirement calculator works, then check out this video. And if you want to learn more about school, then I'll put a link to that as well.